Congressman from Chesapeake, Virginia. And Congressman, I want to know how many Muslims have been allowed to enter this country during this presidency? What's their birth rate? Why are we still allowing the Syrians to continue to come into this country? And how many Muslims are in different levels of government, senior levels of government, from Department of Homeland Security to the White House itself? And why hasn't this man already been impeached? That's what I want to know.
Sure. Well,
I want to know that.
Sure. Well, William, I don't have a number in front of me as to the number of Muslims that are in the government or in these different areas. But remember, you know, we have to be careful about categorizing individuals across the spectrum as far as their religion, because we've seen that happen in the past, and we don't want to be in the business of religious persecution. What I want to make sure,
this isn't just religion, though. This is an all-encompassing.
Okay.
This is an all-encompassing thing that covers everything. Sharia law,
it is.
The military, everything.
Well, we got it.
William, I agree. Listen, we need to be looking at the actions and making sure we're addressing the actions. And I think that's the key here, whether it's Syrians, whether it's folks coming in that want to perpetrate harm, that have been radicalized, that look at the practice of their religion in believing that they need to harm others to do that. William, that's the issue that we need to be looking at, and that's the issue where we need to develop the proper policy, whether it's dealing with Syrian immigrants here escaping persecution there in their home countries, regardless across the board. We have to look at actions, and we have to make sure that we are gathering the right information to determine whether or not people are allowed entrance into this country. That, again, goes back to our obligation to protect the country and to protect American citizens. And I think that's where people's angst is today. I know that's where my angst is, in looking at the system and saying, are we doing that? Are we doing that in a comprehensive way? Do we understand what is behind these actions, like the couple we saw in San Bernardino, and what do we do to make sure that we can identify those individuals before they perpetrate those acts of terror? How do we identify those individuals and say, listen, we believe there's a question here. Maybe you shouldn't be allowed entrance into the country. As you know, of the couple there, the lady who came from Pakistan gave a false address. Of course, we find that out afterwards, whereas if we knew it beforehand, we could have potentially kept her from entering the country. It's those types of actions, William, that we must look at to make sure that we are indeed protecting Americans. I think that's where the crux of the tough policy decisions need to be made, and it's Congress's responsibility to do that. It's our responsibility to set the policy to make sure that we are protecting the country and making sure that those individuals, as we saw a couple of weeks ago in San Bernardino, do not make their way into the country, and make sure that we're protecting Americans. We have much more to do along those lines, and I appreciate your observations, and I share your frustration, too, in where we are today. We are not anywhere close to where we need to be to make sure we have the proper policy on immigration to protect Americans.